Two of the most important cities in Iraq, where the bulk of American lives were lost during the war, are now under siege and at risk of falling to Al-Qaeda extremists. This from a new report from the UN that reveals that violence in Iraq killed nearly 8,000 civilians last year, the highest numbers we have seen since the surge. Joining us now is Pete Hegseth. He's CEO of the Concerned Veterans for America and a veteran of the war in Iraq. Pete, thanks a lot for joining us. This must be so bitter for you and for everyone who served in Iraq to see the return of Al-Qaeda to a country that we lost so many men in.
Yeah, it is maddening, but it is also not surprising. I mean, this is a lesson in, regardless of how you feel about the war in the first place, what happens when you end a war as opposed to try to finish it or win it, create the conditions for enduring success. Instead, this administration decided, we're out of here. We don't want, and we're not going to sign a status of forces agreement. So we left a fledgling young Maliki government inclined toward Iran, a Shia-based government, security forces maybe not capable of controlling that entire country. Then Syria blows up, which is the neighbor to Iraq, and a lot of the violence is spilling now into western Iraq, to Fallujah and Ramadi, those two towns you're talking about. And you're seeing Al-Qaeda take advantage of this situation. And we're seeing black flags, Al-Qaeda black flags, hoisted in Ramadi and Fallujah. It's not conclusive that they'll hold those towns, but how maddening for a veteran to see, hey, Al-Qaeda back in control of these towns we fought so hard for.
Not to mention the massive portions of Iraq now controlled by proxy by Iran.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I don't understand. America earned the right to control, I would argue, the destiny of Iraq. We earned it through the billions we spent, the thousands of lives we lost. Why did the Obama administration decide that we were going to allow the Iraqis, who seemed totally incapable of running their own affairs, to run their affairs?
Well, because they decided this wasn't a war worth winning. If you remember, this president said the good war was in Afghanistan. So they doubled down in Afghanistan, which they're now leaving early as well without maybe committing to that future. So they decided Iraq wasn't worth it. Iraq was the bad war. So regardless of what we invested in and the success of the Iraq surge in 2007, 2008, that really pacified Anbar province and created an opportunity, they said, nope, you're off on your own. And lesson history tells us when you do that, if security forces aren't ready and the government's not prepared, it's going to slide in the wrong direction. And then all that investment, money, blood that we made in that country just sort of trickles away, and we see more and more violence.
What a bitter disaster. Yeah. And not just Iraq, but Syria and the entire region. This is a rhetorical question, but I have to ask it. What is the strategy, the administration's strategy for the whole region?
That's the $10,000 question at this. No one knows. You know what the overarching strategy seems to be? Disengagement. Lead from behind. Lack of American involvement. You see it in Syria with unwillingness to be decisive one way or the other, red lines that aren't acknowledged. And then you've got Iraq, you've got Afghanistan. In Iran, we're cutting deals with a regime that's clearly seeking a nuclear weapon. Yeah. And these rogue elements, whether it's Al-Qaeda or Iran or Hezbollah, smell that weakness, smell that American absence, and they take advantage of the void. And that's what you're seeing in western Iraq, and you're going to see it throughout the Middle East as this president and this administration decide, hands off, good luck.
What a shame. I wish that strategy would work. I don't think anyone wants to be involved, but we have to.
No.
Pete, thanks for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.